achieve. You should never let anything pull you from being the greatest version of yourself. I mean, even if you are not the top learner in South Africa, but at least be the best version of yourself. And I think that's what everyone should aim to be, the best version.
So yeah, you saw me on TV. I think it was 100% in maths, physics, and IT, and 99 in life science. So, and
hello guys, welcome back to Gift Varsity TV. This is your host Gift Bozekana. Today I have a future engineer. hello sir.
Sure, Gift.
Yeah, can you introduce yourself?
My name is Chochi Ramutlo, studying Mechatronics engineering at UCT.
Yeah, not just anywhere. Mechatronics. Right.
Yeah.
So just tell us about yourself. Like, where are you from originally? You know, your background, your high school background, before we come to mechatronics.
Yeah, mina kichwa Limpopo, Polokwane. I'm from Limpopo in Polokwane. Yeah, I grew up there, and I went to Northland High School. And I mean, in my high school life, I was a person who at first didn't like maths. I didn't like maths so much. I hated maths, in fact. Grade 8 and grade 9. And then in grade 9, end of the year, they gave us a new teacher, this other lady. And that teacher went with us until grade 12, actually. So she was very good. She's the one who inspired me to fall in love with numbers. And I fell in love with maths, I fell in love with science, and IT as well. When we chose subjects in grade 9, quite odd that I first chose accounting, maths and physics. And then first week into accounting, I realized that this thing is not for me. And then that's when I changed to IT. And when I changed to IT, it was the best decision of my life. I fell in love with the subject. I was very interested in side projects as well. So I had multiple side projects as well. So that helped me develop sort of the startup as a mechatronics engineer. And I mean, yeah.
All right. We once saw you once on television, right? If I'm not sure, yeah. Because we really what happened? Like, how many distinctions did you get? Like, you even managed to be there. What happened?
So yeah, you saw me on TV. Yeah, it was me. So what happened is that so throughout my entire high school life, I was getting good marks, like 80s, 90s, but I was always someone who was aiming for 100%. So I didn't get those marks. I didn't want those marks, actually. So it was just that, yeah, it's like I was working hard even though I was not getting the marks I wanted. But in grade 12, I just pushed myself to the last limit. And I ended up getting, I think it was 100% in maths, physics, and IT, and 99 in life science. So, and yeah, all distinctions. Yeah, and I was happy. So that's why you saw me on TV. And I think that's why I'm here today studying mechatronics engineering. So yeah, to all the matriculants out there, yeah, it's possible.
How did you do it, my brother? Like, to make sure that you get these good marks?
It involved a lot of determination. Basically, my schedule was so strict. Like, I followed a strict schedule. What happened is that I started in January before schools reopened. If you remember very well, because of COVID, schools reopened quite late in 2021. I matriculated in so schools reopened quite late, like 15 February, somewhere there. So, in January, I started immediately after the New Year's. I started. And I basically set a target that by May I should be done with the grade 12 syllabus. You know, grade 12 is easy, so you can do it. It's not like here. So yeah, I started with the grade 12 syllabus, and I grappled with the grade 12 syllabus. I only did my majors, maths, physics, and IT, and I worked consistently. So I studied a chapter, right, using the study guides, and using YouTube as well, which is a very great tool for learning. And after doing each and every section, practice the paper. It's the first time I'm doing those questions, and then it traps me, obviously, but I I stay persistent, and then I do it again until I'm competent in a single topic, and then I move on to the next topic. I alternate, so I do maths and balance it with life science, and then the next day I do IT and balance it with physical science. And those who did IT will know that IT is a very demanding subject, so I had to reserve at least a Sunday just to practice it and just to go over my theory as well. So that basically helped me. And the thing about IT as well is that you also have a pet, what they call a pet, which is basically some weird software, baby software that you build the entire year in high school. So you also have to deal with that. So I had to reserve time for that as well. But basically it's all about following a strict schedule. I feel like there's power in schedule, and there's power in being consistent, because the first 2 days and the first 2 weeks might be hard, but as you progress through it, you start to get used to it. It even feels weird when you don't study or when you don't do anything the whole day. That's how you get great marks. It's just consistency.
Wow. Consistency. Yeah, indeed. Then you got this 100% for mathematics, 100% IT, 100% physics, 99 life science. So you're invited to come to television there.
Yeah, I was invited. I was actually very happy that day. So yeah, they invited me. My parents as well were happy. So at first, like, I didn't believe it, because my father's phone was being spammed, because the thing is that, DB, there's not that much good communication. So you'd be called by one person, and then you'd be called by another, just to tell you the same thing, that you got an invitation. So, and also when the DBE sends a message to, when they call your father, they call the principal as well, and they call the district director as well, and also the circuit manager. So all those other sections in the government, they then call to make sure that they've called you. So it was just a spam. My messages were spammed with congratulation messages. I felt very happy and proud of myself. But I have to dedicate it to my parents. Tireless hard work they put into my future. I mean, they have to invest the money for extra tutoring. They have to invest the money for you to go to school in those odd hours, and they have to entrust you, responsibilities.
Yeah, that's great indeed. So in grade 12, right, you saw that you were doing well and you were getting proper marks. So what did you apply for to universities? Like, what was your dream?
So I had a conversation with my physical science teacher, Mr. T. Kurian. I'll never forget him. So he was like, so what's the plan for next year? I was like, okay, my first option, I applied for actuarial science. At UCT, I applied for actuarial science and computer science, right? VET, I applied for actuarial science, computer science, and mechanical engineering. So then I told him,
for medicine,
I didn't apply for medicine. I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to be a doctor. It's not in me. And I think I'll be wasting people's lives, because you have to do it with passion. So then I spoke to my physics teacher and asked me what's the plan. I told him the first option was actuarial science, but I wanted to do engineering, mechanical engineering as well. He was like, okay, I think you have an engineering mindset, so mechanical engineering is probably a good option for you, but it's your choice and your parents' choice. And I thought about it and for some while. But the thing is, if you look at computer science and mechanical engineering, so I first went to VETS. So when you're a top achiever, you receive all these calls. Even the vice chancellor calls you. All the vice chancellors from all the universities, they call you to say, Munakam, we'll give you money. So they called me, and I decided, all right, let me just go to VETS, because I applied for engineering there, and I know that I don't like XI, because I hate accounting, and it has accounting in it. So I was like, okay, let me go to VETS. And then I was at VETS for the first week, and I was like, okay, I don't like it yet. And then I was like, okay, UCT, I'm coming, because when you have good marks, they'll be like, okay, the registration is closed, but you can come. You can come. So I told them that I want to study mechatronics. I didn't apply, but they were like, okay, your marks are good, so we can accept you mechatronics. They registered. I came here 2 weeks late to study mechatronics engineering, and the main reason being that, as you know, that I applied for mechanical engineering, computer science. What mechatronics engineering is that it's a multidisciplinary engineering major consisting of computer engineering, mechanical engineering, and electrical engineering. Although 70% of the degree is electrical engineering, but you'll do a lot of programming, and there's mechanics as well. So I felt like this will be a much better option for me because, I mean, it encapsulates everything I like. So I was like, let's go do mechatronics engineering. But just like every top achiever in matric, I was unsure as to what I was going to do, but 100% sure it was not medicine. Yeah.
So most students, maybe they click through this video right now because they're really interested to know what is mechatronics all about. Yes, you said that is a interdisciplinary program whereby you have electrical engineering, mechanical, and also computer engineering. Like, what is all about?
So mechatronics engineering, it's quite hard to explain because it's still a developing engineering major, especially in South Africa, given that there are not many companies who have a robotics field, who have all this cool stuff. So I would advise anyone who's interested in robotics, anyone who's interested in anything to do with digitization of systems. So when you want to digitize systems, you should apply for mechatronics engineering. What you should expect in varsity is a lot of electricity. So you are basically an electrical engineering major, just a fancy electrical engineering major. So there's a lot of electricity. You have to be ready for electrical engineering. And the thing about electrical engineering is that there's a lot of advanced mathematics and physics. There's a lot of physics in electrical engineering. For the first 2 years, you're going to be doing physics. And physics, just as you know, it's not high school physics. It's a bit challenging, but you can do it because there are people who've done it and have graduated. So you will expect to do a lot of physics, a lot of electricity, and also a bit of mechanics as well. Mechanics in second year and in third year. But you can expect very nice projects in embedded systems, in robotics, in optimization. So when you optimize electrical systems to behave in a certain way. So
let's talk about robotics.
Yes.
Like, what other option does a person with mechatronics engineering degree have? Like, where can they work? You know. Yeah.
Okay. So the thing about, I would say if you have a mechatronics engineering degree, your opportunities are broad, because as I said, it's a multidisciplinary engineering major. So what a computer science, electrical and computer engineering graduate will do, you can do. So you can expect to work in, you can work in a data science field, you can work in a electrical engineering firm, but where they develop small low current, what they call it, low current systems. So not heavy current, light current, sorry. Where they develop light current systems. So you can also work in design systems where they design electrical machines. You can also work in robotics as well, where they just build nice robots for any system that you'd want. So companies that you can work for, international companies, you can work for Tesla after you're done. I'm a person who's very interested in automation, so you can work in the self-driven car field. You can work in companies like BBD. You can work at companies like, you can actually get into Microsoft as well. So the opportunities are limitless. This is why this field is in high demand, because you can do very much anything with this degree. But the problem is, with that comes a lot of challenge as well. So if you do everything as a graduate, then it means that you've been challenged a lot in university, because you did everything. So it's a bit of everything. That's what you can expect to do. Anywhere the computer science graduate can work, you can also squeeze yourself in. Electrical engineering graduate can work, you can squeeze yourself in. And because there's mechanics in it, you can also work in design and mechanical engineering firms as well.
Those are great opportunities indeed. You don't regret choosing mechatronics?
No, I think it was the best decision I ever made after choosing IT as a subject. But yeah, mechatronics engineering was a very good, because I'm someone who likes being challenged, but sometimes the challenge is me too much. But yeah, I would say I don't regret my decision at all. Yeah.
So now we have students who chose mechatronics engineering. Why? Let's say who are in engineering field as a whole, right? So now they come to university, they start getting challenges, and others they start failing, others they don't do well, others end up dropping out from mechatronics, they start it and feel like, hey. So what are the challenges you came across, you as a mechatronics engineering student?
Look, I'll tell you one thing about it. It's that it is not easy, and because if it was easy, everyone would have a mechatronics engineering degree from UCT, but you can expect to be challenged a lot. But you have to stay fast and you have to face all those challenges. For some people, I think it's not that they are not brilliant or they are not smart. It's because of the fact that they don't have that grit, so they can't hold on until the very last end, even when it gets difficult. Once it gets very difficult, they want to back off, and it's not something that they choose. Sometimes people we're not born the same, but you have to face all those challenges head on. Yeah, it's difficult, and what makes it difficult, moreover, is no one cares about what you know. Even when it comes to theory that they teach you here, no one cares about what you know. It's what you can do with what you know. So you have to be a person who then thinks out of the box. You have to be a problem solver, and not just a problem solver of solving problems between small systems. They give you systems that you can expect to solve problems for some time in the real world. It's just that they make it more theory based, and they make assumptions in some way that assume that you have this. Well, it might not be the case in the real world, but they want to challenge you and give you problems that you can expect in the working industry. So that's why it's difficult, because they don't care about theory. You don't just study, you have to know how to use what you know.
Wow. Yeah, you must think abroad,
outside the box.
Yeah. So, like, what did you make to make sure that you keep on doing well in varsity, right? Yeah. So that you don't lose that grit. You said what did you make?
I think the first things first is to make sure that you take care of yourself before anything else, because you are the producer of all these marks that you expect. You are the one who's going to produce all those results and all these great things in engineering. So you have to take care of yourself. If the system that is producing the content is not doing very well, then the output will not be very great. So you need to have a stable support system. Everyone who's not contributing to your path, I think you cut them off. If someone is not contributing to your path, make sure that you cut them off. Because at the end of the day, you need a stable support structure that is going to support you throughout the course of the program, because it can be a very challenging journey to become an engineer. So you first have to make sure that you have a stable support system. Number two, be consistent. That's another thing that I can say. You must be as consistent as possible. Number three, be true to yourself as well. Number four, make sure that you become a team player. You can't do it alone. When someone understands something, you don't understand it. You understand something, someone else doesn't understand it. So at least have a group of engineers that you work with. And first year is a very great time to develop that group, because everyone is still fresh and everyone thinks they are still the smartest person on earth, because of the great marks that they get. So everyone is still trying to find smart group mates. So make sure that you get those groups up and running, and work on your degree, because at the end of the day, you can't know everything and you can't understand everything. And also sometimes you may fail, but make sure that you take those nicely. Don't be too hard on yourself. I've had a bit of failures. I failed a test. That's one thing I can tell you. The lowest mark I've got here was 18%. It was my engineering drawing test. First semester engineering drawing, first test on engineering drawing. I failed that test 18%, but I didn't worry that much, because I knew that I would be able to cover up for it, and that section counted the least anyway. But it's not a smooth pass. You're not always going to get those 90s. Those 90s, you will get them only if you stay consistent, and only if you work with other people, and also make sure that you stay true to yourself and stay true to your path. Those things of grooving every weekend, you can do it, but at the end of the day, you are the one who's going to save the semester. People who have been studying and who have been consistent, they are not going to save the semester. They are going to revise now and prepare themselves for the examination. All those things, you can do it, but make sure that it involves a lot of balance, because at the end of the day, it's all about your degree. That's why you're here, not here for a holiday. You're here for your degree.
Wow. Yeah, That's true. That's true indeed, guys. I hope you are listening. I hope you are listening indeed. So, anything that you think that most students should know, like students must do and know, like out of my
So are you talking about students in general or engineering students?
I mean, like students, like being a student, you know.
I think
Okay, let's talk about engineering students,
Okay.
because mostly who are watching
Yeah.
us now are engineering students.
engineering students.
Yeah.
I think the best thing that I can advise you to do is to stay humble. It's very difficult for students to stay humble, especially smart students. But stay humble, and that's the only way in which you can make it through. And above all, stay true to your path. Stay in your lane. Stay on your grind. You'll find many people who propose different study methods to you, who propose different ways in which they understand content. You'll find many people who try to say, or hey, no, you can manage the work. Don't worry about it. You can do this and this and that. You know, these things don't just happen. It's not those things that you see in LO where someone will come and tell you, hey, we're going to a party. It happens gradually. You know, no one is stupid enough to tell you you're going to a party or you're writing a test tomorrow. It happens gradually, where you're just like, okay, let's live off a bit and let's do this weekend. But if you know that you have something, you set out your schedule in a specific type of way, don't derail from that just because of something that came up. Make sure that you stay true to your schedule. Have a very strict schedule, and having a very strict schedule will not just bring you academic success, but it will also have you being very happy, because some people end up committing suicide, and because the pressure gets too much to the point that they can't handle it. However, if you have sort of a well-pressured system, you can survive from that, because it's sort of smooth sailing, in the sense that even though it's steep, but it's much gentle, rather than having it gentle at the start and then 3 weeks before the examination or just before test 2, because that's when reality kicks in. Then it becomes steep like this. So you don't want that. So make sure that you gradually increase the pressure as you go, if need be, or make sure that you have a smooth pressured system, and every day make sure that you do something university related, even though it might not be that big. Remember to also take a break, because you might reach a point where you break down, and you don't want that to be in exam season. So remember to take a break when you feel very pressured. Be self-aware as well. Know when you're not producing high quality content in your assignments and in your tests. Make sure that you know when you're not being as enhanced as possible. Go back to the drawing board, fix your mistakes, and work towards those 90s and 100s in university.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, indeed. Thank you so much for this quality advice. You know, it's rare to get such an advice, you know, because when you come to university, you find people who usually say, you're gonna fail this thing. How do you like face those talks? You see, there are people who say, you're engineering, you're destroying yourself, right? So how do you face those kind of talks, you know, because sometimes people they get demotivated from that.
I mean, your biggest enemy is self-doubt, especially as an engineer. That's your biggest enemy, self-doubt, because self-doubt will hinder you from, even in that test environment, if you are doubtful, it will hinder you from a lot of things, from achieving great marks. So the first thing is, first believe in yourself, right? Then channel yourself in a specific way that will align with your dreams. So if you know that your dream is getting 90%, 80%, make sure that you channel yourself in a way that will diverge you towards that path. Don't put in zero effort and expect to get 90% effort. And there's a theorem that I learned in first year in maths. It's a very nice theorem. It's called the mean value theorem. You can do some research on it. So the mean value theorem basically says that if you're driving a car and at the end of the day your average speed was 50 kilometers per hour, it means that there was a specific point where you're traveling at 50 kilometers per hour. So what that means is that if the function is nice and differentiable, you can have that point where you are traveling 50 kilometers per hour. So what that means is that in a more contextual sense, it means that you can have, if you have a system where you work towards 90%, where you put 90% of the effort, then your average speed is likely to be 90%, is likely to be 90 kilometers per hour. If we are converting it out of 100, it's likely to be 90 kilometers per hour when you're done, because you've been putting 90% of the effort each and every time. and you may get demotivated. This is not a smooth sailing path. If it was very easy and everyone was putting in the work and they were working and they were getting the marks, it would make it easier, but it's not like that. You'll get demotivated at some point. Then it's then nice to go back to the drawing board. If you're a religious person, make sure that you pray. If you believe in amadlozi, make sure that waphasa kasipedi wabuchawuphasa. Yeah, uyaphahla. Yeah, make sure that you stick to your religion as well. If you're feeling demotivated, call your mom, call your parents, talk to them about it. But it's very important to not give up at any point, because once you give up and once you stop the car and you switch it off, it will be very hard to switch it back on. Because one thing about university is that time moves very fast. Just last week we were starting with the semester and everything moves very fast because there's a lot of content to cover, especially in engineering. There's a lot to cover. They flood you with many assignments. Every day is a due date in engineering, and not just a due date for one assignment, but 3 assignments or 4 assignments. So you don't realize that time is moving very fast, and by the time you wake up, it's the end of the semester now. You have exams that you are writing, and the exams, because you're an engineer, they put them in 5 days and there are 5 exams back to back. And it's always like that for engineering students. All engineering students can attest to it. It's always like that. All the tests and exams, they're probably in 1 week or 2 weeks if they're nice enough. But you need to have a well-pressured system, consistent and well-pressured system. And in mathematics terms, it has to be nice and differentiable and consistent, so that at the end of the day, you get the average that you were expecting when you started.
Wow. Let me not mix it, guys. Wow. Thank you so much. Let's hope, guys, you got that motivation that you need, Yeah, you can't put 0 effort and expect 90% effort. Indeed, you need to work for these marks that you need, indeed. Any last words before we close?
The last words
to metrics and whatever, yeah.
The last words I have, number one, is for university students, is that remember to seek help. In high school, they tell you that your lecturers won't be there for you, they won't care about you. But these people actually care in some sort of way. They do care. Not just the lecturer, but the teaching team as a whole. So reach out to, if it means setting up consultation sessions, those are free, right? Set up consultation sessions if you don't understand something and you've been grappling with it for so long. You tried YouTube, it's not working. Tried asking someone for help, it's not working. Remember to reach out to the teaching team. And also, for matric students, there's no excuse for not achieving great marks. In matric, really, there's no excuse. If there's a good excuse that I can think of is maybe psychosocial issue in your family, maybe someone passed away. But rather than that, there's no excuse for not achieving great marks in matric. Make sure that you work from day one. I know that now you are about to write June exams, and soon you'll be writing trial exams. Make sure that you study as much as possible, go over all the content and be true to yourself. If you don't understand something, go back to it. Sometimes you might think, no, I understand it. You try to convince yourself, you gaslight yourself, and you think that, no, I understand it. But at the end of the day, you find that you don't end up achieving great marks in that specific topic. So make sure that you're true to yourself always. Consult. There are multiple resources for matric students. They know that matric is very important. The DBE has many resources. For physics, I would recommend the Study and Master. For maths, I would recommend the book and study guide. And for IT, there are not many resources for IT, but I would recommend practicing a lot and consulting the Delphi. IT is great at grade 12, the Delphi version, because you're doing Delphi in IT. But for your languages, make sure that you write your essays beforehand, submit them to your teacher, ask them to grade it for you and see where your mistakes are, and practice practice for each and every paper, including LO, including English paper 1, because at the end of the day, you might find that you get 90% and 100 in maths, but you get a 16 LO. A 16 English. No university will take you because they require English as the medium of instruction. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time in this channel, guys. Let's hope you got inspired for real to work towards your goal. Any student, whatever field you are, make sure don't forget to subscribe and like this video so that more students can be able to watch it also, and YouTube will recommend it to them. Thank you so much for your time.